The most important thing to make sure you take care of in designing an amp that's supposed to work great with pedals is making sure that it sounds fantastic with no pedals plugged in whatsoever. The Keeley Custom 10 and Keeley Custom 12 amplifiers are the result of a friendship between myself and Robert Keeley that goes back about 15 years. We first met at a summer NAMM show, and subsequently I would always visit Robert's booth at different trade shows and see the new pedals that he was coming out with. And eventually I gave him a call and I asked him if it would be possible for me to create an amp that would be something he could use.
One of the super things about designing with Dave and Supro is that he's also a pedal designer. And he also loves amps, like I started before pedals, So, we put us together and we have the same passions. We like the same music. He gets to perform live more than I do, so I'm jealous.
My aim in designing this amp was for it to not get in the way of the music. You should be able to click on whatever different effects you want, and the amp's not going to fall apart in the low end, and it's not going to get overly harsh in the top end. It's just got a nice even frequency response that stands up to pretty much whatever you throw at it. Building on the success of the Keeley Custom 10, Robert and I wanted to bring something to the table that would offer players the same sweetness that you get from that model with an even bigger sound.
It answers every customer's question about hey, wonder how awesome this would sound like with a 12. And so we got that in there. It's, of course, a transparent amplifier designed to have, pedals push it and color it. And so I couldn't be happier with it. People have the tendency to want to stack pedals now and the volume gets really loud. So if you could just consider how we interface the preamp stage of the Supro 12, and we set it for high headroom there so that the colors of the pedals can shine through, and stacked gain ranges and all that volume doesn't clip those first tubes prematurely.
Now, I went through several different iterations of this amplifier in prototype stage, using different types of speakers, trying different transformers, output stages, different tubes, and ultimately settled on this magic little recipe that makes this amp sing. The Keeley Custom 12 is a fabulous pedal platform, no matter how you use it. You can run your entire pedal rig straight into the standard input jack, or you can elect to take advantage of the effects loop, which allows you to put pedals in between the preamp and power amp sections.
You can stack, 6, 7 drive pedals into the preamp and hear them exactly how you wanted those pedals to sound. Then you go use the effects loop and put your modulation out there where it's nice and pristine sounding. Come back to the glorious 6v6 tubes and that Creamback speaker.
This is the first time that a Celestion speaker has been featured in a Supro tube amplifier. The G12M-65 Creamback is a favorite of both myself and Robert Keeley.
When it breaks up, it just sings to me. I love the texture, the grain of that speaker, and simply my favorite.
Part of creating products for today's musicians is being forward-thinking. The Keeley Custom 12 is the epitome of a product that we've developed in direct response to modern players' needs. Not only are players more selective and more intentional about how they build out their pedal board and how they think about their overall sound, but they want products that allow them to find new territory.
You could pummel the front end of your amp with all sorts of different pedals, even run your entire pedal board right in the front of this thing and never have the sound fall apart.
Historically, Supro is a vintage amp company, and it's always going to be important to us to honor that history, to do faithful reissues, and have that Class A tube amp sound as the core of what we do. But it's really important to us to serve modern players. So with projects like this and a lot of the stuff that we have coming down the road, it's our hope that our audience understands that we are trying to innovate on what we do as well as stay faithful to what the Supro sound is.
Everything's to like about Supro. So, I like what sets them apart, what makes them different from the British and other American amps, and what makes it special now is working with Dave and how he's putting together sounds that I like, you know what I mean, and incorporating, you know, my desires. I love the Tolex, the blue color, the grill cloth is amazing, and so seeing the Keeley logo and the Supro logo on there together is really done.